In my family, refusing my grandmother wasn't just frowned upon, it was treated like a crime. She called it disrespect, and she'd slam her cane against the marble floors until everyone fell silent. Every Sunday, the entire family gathered in her enormous house while she delivered her weekly judgment, who would inherit what and who had disappointed her. My cousins treated her like a queen. They memorized her preferences, even down to how hot her tea should be, 1 degree higher or lower, and she'd pretend to faint. My parents named me after her, Catherine, hoping it would help me secure my share of her empire. Catherine II, she'd say, looking at me with that icy smile. My father always nodded proudly, constantly reminding me what I stood to gain if I behaved. My older brother James already had a guaranteed trust fund lined up. But at 16, I learned what my future looked like. During Sunday dinner, my grandmother put her glass down and announced my destiny. Catherine will marry the grandson of Thomas Wellington next summer. A match that strengthens our legacy? My father beamed. My mother squeezed my hand. I sat there in stunned silence. Wellington's grandson, Bradley, was 32. I'd never even spoken to him. And apparently I would drop out of school afterward because women in this family don't need degrees. That night, my mother sat on my bed, telling me she had gone through the same thing. It's just how things work, she whispered. I refused to let that be my life, so I began researching emancipation laws, scholarships, anything that could help me escape. My history teacher noticed me crying in the library. And I told her everything. She didn't judge, she helped. She stayed late after school helping me apply to universities far from home. The day my family held an engagement party for me, one I never agreed to, I found out I'd been accepted with a full scholarship to a university hundreds of miles away. That night, I packed one backpack, wrote a letter, and left. James found me at the bus station. You're destroying everything, he said through clenched teeth. She'll cut you off, you'll lose everything. I handed him the letter. Please give it to them, I said, and boarded the bus before I lost my nerve. My phone rang nonstop. My father threatened to report me missing. My mother cried that grandmother had collapsed. Cousin told me I had ruined the family legacy. I changed my number, stopped using my first name, and moved into a tiny apartment near campus. Life was incredibly hard at first, 2 jobs, cheap food, long nights. And on holidays, when I saw photos of my family on grandmother's yacht, the loneliness stung. But I made friends. Zoe, my roommate, brought me home for Thanksgiving. Her parents didn't ask questions. They just set an extra plate and welcomed me. 3 years later, I was succeeding, top grades, an internship lined up, finally breathing freely. Then campus police found me and said my brother was looking for me. When I saw him, his eyes were red. Grandmother is dying, he said. She's asking for you. I almost didn't go, but something pushed me to. When I walked into her room, the entire family went silent. My father tried to stop me, but she waved him off. So you chose freedom over fortune, she rasped. I thought she'd scold me. Instead, she held my hand. Once I wanted to fly planes, but I didn't have the courage you did. I lived the life I was told to live. You didn't. She passed away the next morning. At the reading of the will, the lawyer announced something none of us expected. To Catherine, who reminded me of the girl I once was, I leave my personal estate and controlling interest in the family holdings. My father exploded. My cousins stared at the floor. My mother cried quietly in the corner. James hugged me afterward. She saw something in you, he said. She always did. I used part of the inheritance to create scholarships for teenagers trying to escape toxic homes like mine. Because breaking a family cycle didn't cost me everything, it gave me back my future.